Can we brand Peapod? I want to be
The Peapod?
I want to be the Peapod.
You gotta make a shirt then.
Alright, so today's
have
show.
a P, and it's all the P's are going to be our faces.
Yeah, there you go.
Pop culture. You guys have any catchy titles you want to throw out there?
All I can think about is popcorn.
I think we'll come up with one naturally as the episode.
A joke will happen.
Yeah.
That will be the joke.
I have a feeling you guys are correct. Alright.
That's what happened last week.
Mm-hmm.
With Law or Order.
So we got some Ariana, some Demi, Eddie Murphy.
Ariana Grande retired. Is that what it is? Is that the pop culture moment?
It says she's got a Ariana. Well, this is Maddox.
Oh, so nice.
She got the cheating scandal.
Demi.
Demi Lovato opens up about seeking mental health.
Still?
Yeah.
No, she's telling people now her thing is telling people or telling kids that it's okay not to be okay.
Eddie Murphy is.
But it's not.
Eddie Murphy's going to star in the Pink Panther.
Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be the Pink Panther? That's fantastic, man.
Patricia Arquette.
If it's live action, then I hope he's not going to be the Pink Panther. Because that's a little loud.
Everyone's becoming Black Panther 3,
Or
including me.
first Black Panther.
Well, really, it's no. If you be a furry.
He's going to star as Inspector Clouseau.
Okay, actually, I'm down with that.
Definitely a live action. I don't think I want to see a live action Pink Panther.
Patricia Arquette on how being brave guided her career. I met her in Haiti.
Did you?
Yeah, she was there after the hurricane.
I'm gonna do that.
I mean, after the earthquake, I mean.
That's the girl, that's Pam from The Office.
I'm actually watching The Office.
I haven't watched The Office. I don't think it's a good show. Sue me.
I haven't watched it either. Well, I've seen episodes, but I haven't watched it.
I don't like shows like that.
Yeah, it's good. I keep it on in the background when I do my
You know
work.
what show I've been watching and my mom keeps telling me I'm a bad person for it? Shameless.
That's your dad's show, isn't it?
I love it. Okay, if you get past all of the, like, butts on screen all the time, it's a very good show about family and how
The
family
most dysfunctional family
is
you know,
everything.
man.
No, family is everything. That's the message of the show. And drugs. It's also the message of the show.
All right, yo, we ready to do this? I think this will be a fun one. I'm gonna trust you, youngins.
All right, I think what we can do, we'll intro it. We'll define what pop culture is. You said you have a big hitter. Right?
I said it's gonna make you mad.
Okay, then all right. And then I have some things I like. There's an article like if the benefits of pop culture.
Sweet.
So we can do that.
And I'll just sit here like the old man, as per the usual, and be like,
Who's that?
All right, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Temporary Insanity. I'm your host, Josh Pereira, and with me in studio yet again, and we have a good streak going, our awesome co-hosts, Mr. William McCoy and Sierra Tanzi. How you doing, guys?
What up? Happy Friday.
And hey, guys, I'm kind of a jerk. Here's the deal. This past week, I've been doing a lot of, like geek stuff, touching like the websites and social media pages, and you'll notice that we finally updated everything. So if you go to our website, www.temporaryinsanitypodcast.com, you go to our social media pages, which is Temporary Insanity Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, what else do we have? We have TikTok. You'll finally see Sierra's face on everything.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. So we are up to date, guys. We are up to date. We even fixed your position on our website, because on our website I noticed that you were still just listed as our social media manager. So you officially have the title of co-host there. And Will, you were still out of date on the website. You were just contributor / like co-host, which was kind of like when you were just like on the fence about being like a permanent co-host from the beginning.
Yeah.
So now like you guys are like permanent, so
I want mine to say P number 3.
So we are ready to rock and roll, and this week marks episode number 14, guys. So we are rocking and rolling. And
What an unsatisfying number.
14.
well, I mean, hey, look, I'm not gonna lie, like, it is really like moving along on from week to week. I mean, I can't believe we are at last week made a baker's dozen. I had to throw that in there because I how often do you get to say baker's dozen, right? And I mean, I can't believe we've been on for 14 weeks. I mean, it's gonna be soon enough. We're gonna be like episode 100, guys. Like
When we
That'd be
reach
crazy.
episode 100, can we do what they do in like elementary schools? I'm gonna bring a poster board with 100 Cheerios on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you watch TV shows, like when they hit their 100th episode, don't they do like a special like I remember like the musical episodes,
Temporary Insanity the musical.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how good it will be. Like, it might be like,
We're doing a parody spin-off episode of the podcast.
maybe
we
a
can
little.
only talk in song lyrics.
Yeah. That's it. So that mark your calendars, people. We're at 14, so we about what, like 86 episodes away from Temporary Insanity, the musical. But today we're gonna dive into the world of pop culture. Don't fret, my friends. Josh Pereira will not be the main source of information on this one because pop culture is not my world. But fortunately, we have two awesome young people that co-host with us, and they will take lead today.
I love celebrity drama. Everyone that knows me knows I love
Oh,
celebrity
you might
drama.
be able to weigh in on some pop
I
culture.
live for it.
Because pop culture is really like an 80s like to now thing, so 80s and 90s.
Mario's
You might got
coming
something.
back. Mario was very 80s.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, let's be honest. I mean, when it comes to like my life, it evolves around like my family. Well, now, I mean, let me rephrase. I mean, I grew. I mean, from the time I was a kid, it was always like ministry. So I mean, yeah, I mean, church culture. Yeah, I could get into that. Then at a young age I started businesses, so I got very involved with building the businesses, which was kind of like raising kids, and then family was always big, and then and then I always got into politics. I always got into like that stuff. Music, I have a very weird mix. Like I was never into just like one thing. Like so I got into a mix of like hip hop and rock and stuff like that, but I mean, very, very, I guess eclectic. I guess you would say, because it's just never one thing. Like I would go through phases. Like I went through like this big, like classic rock phase, and I go through, so like it was just always like through this. But still, it was just like I don't know. I'm very weird when it comes to the pop culture stuff. But hey, who knows? Who knows? Like. So as you guys talk about stuff, I'll try to chime in. Try not to sound like grandpa too much. Try not to do too many of the back in my day, we used to walk 7 miles up the hill. I used to put rocks in the fire and then put them in my pockets so I could keep my hands warm,
How old are you?
1920s at least.
Apparently.
Listen, I'm just saying. I'm 36 now, which is very young, but clearly things have changed. I mean, but that's a story for another day. But pop culture, what you guys got? I mean, let's dive right in.
Well, I think to start off pop culture, we should define pop culture, because I think there's a difference between culture and pop culture, right? So according to Google, pop culture or popular culture is a set of practices, beliefs, and objects that embody the most broadly shared meaning of a social system. It includes media objects, entertainment, and leisure, fashion and trends, and conversations, among other things. So pop culture is basically what the recent generation that uses social media dictates is cool. That's basically what pop culture is now. Culture through time, though, is very interesting. Usually you see like every 10, 15 years like the culture changes, and now it seems like every year, every 2 years is like a new trend that pops up, especially with social media and TikTok. There's always a new dance trend or a new soundbite trend that pops up every couple of weeks. So it seems like pop culture, it's hard to keep track. Even being young, it's hard to keep track like what's popular. So it'd be interesting to dive into. Sierra's even younger than me, so she's like in it. You're like in the college group, so you're in it.
She's gonna keep it fresh. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, like even with like that pop culture stuff, like you know, people laugh because it's like people talk about like going to even going to the movies. Like for instance, like, you know, I think like it went from like, all right, I went to watch Titanic. Then from there it was like the next movie was like 50 First Dates.
I hate that movie. Titanic. Titanic makes
Oh, it was a bone of contention for a long time. Like
Titanic wants to make me jump off the
she didn't have to do him like that, you know, like straight up like, I'll never let you go. I mean,
and immediately lets him go.
I mean, it was horrible.
I mean, according to the movie, she waited until he died first, at least.
But there was plenty of room for both of them.
But that's not how that works, though. If he got on the boat would. I mean, the door would have sunk.
You don't know that.
I do.
Buoyancy.
At least try.
I mean, she wasn't no.
Yeah, at least try, but
Yeah.
she would have also. I'm not saying
Because
she's
according to the movie,
Just saying it makes sense.
as soon as she let him go, 3 seconds later, the boat comes to save her. So you tell me that she couldn't the buoyancy wouldn't have lasted. Listen, we're not going to get into that today because it took me many years of you know, therapy and different. All right. So I after that movie, I boycotted the theaters until like 50 First Dates, which was many years later with Nancy, and then from there, I think the next movie I saw was like the original Pirates of the Caribbean, and then my friend promised me that we would see the whole series together, and then you know who you are, Demetrius. All right, I'm calling you out. All right. I'm just saying, Demetrius is like, yeah, this is gonna be our thing, bro. We're gonna watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean because I love Johnny Depp, and then. We saw the first one together. We never saw the other, so till this day, I've never seen the rest of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Joey loves them.
I can't. I promised Demetrius that we would see them together. Demetrius, till this day, I'm still waiting to watch the rest of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Demetrius, please watch the Pirates of the Caribbean with
Right?
this guy, please.
So after
Everyone else's at this point.
after the Pirates of the Caribbean, I never saw any other movies in the theater until I think Nancy took me with Michelle and Jeff to watch The Fault in Our Stars, and then I was not welcome back to the theater for a while because I mean we walk in to watch this movie based on a true story, and everybody's like all emotional when the kid with the cancer dies, and I know I'm sorry to all our listeners, I feel like this is going to come across very insensitive, but what happens is it's a true story. It was very sad in real life, but the kid passes away, and then the whole theater erupts in tears, and I didn't mean to say this out loud, but out loud from my mouth, I'm like, are you serious? And someone hears me and is like, oh my goodness, did he just say that? And I just start laughing. Because I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? We all knew, it's like the Titanic all over again. Everybody knew that ship was going to sink, right?
Well, okay, with The Fault in Our Stars, if you had read the book, you would have known he was going to die, and it would have been a lot less sad. So.
Oh, come on! It was they teed you right up to the whole thing, right?
It's a metaphor.
I'm just saying. I'm not that deep.
Give it the power to kill you.
I have 2 eyes and I have a brain. I saw where the movie was coming to.
I
Right?
hated The Fault in Our Stars, and it being like a true story really makes me feel like an awful person for that. But I just think it wasn't good.
I never watched it because I knew how it ended, so I felt like I didn't need to watch it.
It's an unnecessary love story for what happens at the end.
You see, I can't do movies like that. Like you know, I'm a man enough to admit, one of the movies I did not watch in theaters, but I watched it in the house. I excused myself to go to the restroom so I can cry like a man cries in private. Was The Notebook, right? Because that was sad. Like 2 old people who loved each other, they died. I'm saying, I'd love to go out like that. I know that I probably won't go out like that. Like I'll probably go out in like in an embarrassing way. Like I'll probably like slip on ice or something and like crack my skull.
So much
But if I'd love to be able to go out like that. I'll be visiting Nancy in our old age at like 130 years old, right? And I'll be. Look, health has come a long way.
Technology and health is gonna go crazy. Elon Musk is making that brain chip.
Seriously,
live forever at this point.
I don't want to live till 130.
It depends. Like if I have all my faculties.
I'm for real ready to knock out at like 80.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I had a neighbor, right? This dude was like, he had to be like almost 300 years old, and he was still farming. like my dad listens to the program. Dad, you know who we're talking about? My dad, this guy, he was like straight up like 100 years old. He straight up still be like doing like his, he'd still be doing his snow removal outside. This guy was a machine. He'd be bringing cucumbers like the size of like small farm animals over. Like this guy's farm was unbelievable. Like if I'm still like that, like at like 100 some odd years old, I'll keep going. Like if I'm losing my faculties, then let me go out like that. You know what I'm saying? But like I'd still keep going. As
long as you're good, like mentally and physically. I mean, keeping going.
I mean, the guy was. I look. That generation was tough, but like so like certain then like fast forward. I'm a nerd and like I'm in the IT world and stuff like that, and people are hating on me because they're like, you never seen any of the Star Wars, you never seen any like like Marvel. I missed out on like all the Marvel stuff
Which
until
is a shame.
Well, so Will took me to see the Marvel movie. What was the Marvel?
It was
movie?
one of the Avenger movies.
No, it was the last one. It was the one with like the thing, like the Endgame. Yeah.
Oh, was it Endgame?
Yeah. So I'm like,
okay.
Will, am I gonna understand anything that's happening in this Endgame?
No.
He's like, oh, it shouldn't be too bad. That's how he got me into the theater.
Well, I lied to you because there's no
Like,
way.
Okay, but even if you did watch every single Marvel movie, you still wouldn't have understood it because they didn't release them in order.
I'm just saying. Then I looked, I'm like, Will, what happened to Spider-Man? This is not Spider-Man. Who is that
The
kid?
new Spider, he's British
It's
now.
the better Spider-Man.
No, there will never be a Spider-Man like my man Tobey Maguire. I'm just saying.
Ew, I hate
my man Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst. I'm just saying those
and she was
are
like
my
the
people.
worst MJ too, and the second MJ wasn't even an MJ. She
That's
was
what's
a
wrong.
Gwen.
She was a Gwen, yes.
That's what's wrong with your generation. You guys don't
That
appreciate.
culture shift, right?
All right.
No,
The-
Tobey Maguire was weird.
Let's have a whole podcast with the
His
different
mouth
cultures
was
of
weird
Spider-Man.
looking, and I really just couldn't get past his mouth, and I couldn't get past James Franco being.
I don't know. So when it comes to this pop culture stuff, I'm just very confused. I'm very lost. All right. And it's fun because like people are listening. They're like, this guy's all over the place. You're right. I just don't understand. They keep changing everything. But ironically enough, like pop culture has such a grasp on everything, and it's like, and it affects things in such a great way. Like people are like, what does pop culture have to do with the times that we're living in today? It has things. It has to do with everything. I mean, look, pop culture affects. Just regular societal day-to-day things in terms of what what how people feel and act and how they escape. I mean, like, let's be honest, like, people have a hard day, they go home, and pop culture is where they escape to everything. Like, people relate to these characters like they're their best friends. Like this is like, you see a TV persona and you're like, that's like my boy. Now,
I get very attached to TV show characters.
For real?
Very attached.
Yeah, it's like the saying goes, never meet your hero, because you get so like disappointed. Like on TV, they're like the most compassionate person. Like in real life, you find out like they're the biggest jerk, right? Like my son, I remember like when Aiden was like 3 or 4 years old, and he'd be watching that kid Ryan play with toys.
When he ages.
Yeah, and I'm like, kid, you have that same exact toy downstairs. He's like, but I'm watching my best friend Ryan play with this. I'm like, he don't know who you are. Like that's not your boy. Like, So it's like, and pop culture affects not only that, but like look at like recent elections. Like Barack Obama. One of the brilliant things he did to get out to vote. Barack Obama's first term election rocked the vote amongst young college age students was because he had a brilliant campaign team that used pop culture. I mean, he had young actors and actresses, young artists and superstars, really like helping get attention out to the political arena. You have pop culture affecting even the church. I mean, look at the brief run that Kanye had in the Christian circle. I mean, pop culture has its thumb on everything, and we truly underestimate the reach that pop culture really has. If you ask me now, the problem I have is I don't really understand it, and I think that's the problem that a lot of especially like in the church, if we're really going to talk, if we're going to marry this to the conversation about where we have the disconnect in the churches. A lot of pastors, a lot of church executive pastors, and a lot of church administrators don't understand the real reach that pop culture has and the real divide that there is between church and pop culture, and how like when you see like young adults and youth and kids that are coming to Sunday school, where that pop culture really has a grab on them, and how the church needs to understand pop culture in order to be able to really reach this generation. I mean, am I wrong?
Absolutely not. It sets the tone of what's cool, basically, for the world, for the mass population. Once something is deemed cool by insert your favorite celebrity here, then that's cool. And if it's deemed uncool by insert your favorite celebrity here, it's uncool. And then what Sierra will probably talk about later is that when one of your favorite celebrities is beefing with another celebrity, now it starts a culture war, right? Who's right? Who's right? That celebrity drama that everyone clings
I
on to.
live for the drama.
I live for it.
Right? They make networks out of it. They have TLC and the E Network who make just millions and billions of dollars off of celebrity gossip.
But isn't it kind of sad that, like, actually now that I think about it, like some of these, like, I'm gonna get so much like hate for this, but like even like some of these like super mega churches like have become part of the pop culture, like some of these like these battles between some of the like super big pastor guys who are like hating on each other, like. I mean, you know, we even heard about like a crazy Easter service that happened at one of these super like multi-million-dollar church places that were like you know made like all the news and they're on the Today shows and stuff like that. Like you're right. The drama feeds everybody. Like it's like, did you see that this guy did this and like. I mean, Sarah's like, I can see like the excitement like exuding
it's
from you
really
here.
bad, but I'd rather be excited over drama happening between two people that put themselves in the spotlight purposely to get attention than having like two people I actually know who aren't famous beefing for no reason. Like
the only thing that's tough about it now that I can wrap my head around is that when we feed into these celebrities, and sometimes they're regular people who end up turning celebrities. Because we care so much, stupid people become rich.
Yeah.
I never like
it's
interact. Like I'm like a fly on the wall. Like
millions of people.
You see me read in articles. I'll watch the occasional update video on TikTok. I'll never at someone on Twitter or comment on Instagram posts. I'm just there watching.
Here's the only advice I have, and it's and this is where we have to walk this fine line as believers. It's entertainment, and yeah, it's okay to get into the entertainment, but what we have to watch out for is what it says in Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn." To know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. The reason I say this is because we've also seen where people get so wrapped up in the drama that it causes like literal divides. Like, Sarah, tell me I'm wrong. Like, you know, I'm team. Well, okay. First of all, this started, and if you're watching us on the behind the scenes.
You better not be saying what I think you're about to say. I will get upset.
I'm just saying, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I heard you drop something like, I'm Team Bieber.
I'm Team Selena Gomez.
Team Selena Gomez. I don't, but I'm saying, but but you're rational about this. But I'm saying, but like, how many families get like people like straight up fight, leave their family. Like, you're dead to me. Like, not in a playful way, but like
those people sending Hailey Bieber death threats.
Yeah.
On behalf of Selena Gomez. And Selena Gomez didn't tell them to do it. They said, they offended my girl Selena Gomez so bad, I'm going to take it upon myself.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm going to send death threats to a woman who I don't know just because they have some kind of...
If you want to read up on the drama, laugh about how stupid it is, go for it. Like, that's what I do. But I'm not sitting there saying, Hailey Bieber needs to, like, drive her car off a cliff because she made Selena Gomez sad.
And I say this in a playful way, but realistically, the Bible is spot on with this, right? I mean, in Romans, what it's saying here is like, don't copy the behavior of this world. Like, yeah, we read it and we chuckle a little bit, but also we read it and it's a little sad to see how we take sometimes we take pleasure in like the disparity that takes place, like. Some of these people's lives are like literally like, look at this whole perfect example. All right, I know this is gonna be like, this is so yesterday's news, but like, look at this whole thing where we were all following Britney Spears, right? With like this whole what did they call it? The
Free Britney.
Yeah, like the free Britney, like the conservatorship or whatever, where her dad was like,
her.
Yeah, he which to a point was like, wow, like talk about like for the lack of better words, like a modern day slavery, right? Like Britney, I own you. You work, I control your money, I control everything you do, I control your bookings, you do what I say, when I say, how I say, I get the idea behind the legal action that was taken, because maybe at a point she's not deemed mentally fit to make certain decisions, but it got crazy, right? Like people got so invested in this woman's life, and I'm like, could it be that she was this unstable because she was so like watched by the world that like she had zero sense of like individual privacy, like I don't know, like I get it. Like it's and I also see the other side. Like these people put themselves in the position where they made themselves public, right? Like
a lot of it too. I think Britney. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't the biggest Britney Spears fan, but I think she started her career when she was still a child. At least a young teenager.
She was part of the Disney Club.
Disney Club. So at some point, her parents put her there.
Well, that's the problem.
And then
with
once
a
you're
lot of
famous and you kind of grow and you want to be a dancer and an actor, you're not going to be like, okay, I'm a teenager or an adult, I want to stop. You're going to kind of keep that going. And at that point, you're too deep in.
That's the problem with a lot of child, like, musicians or actors. You can't, like, legally do the thing you're doing by yourself. So you kind of, like, bring your parents on as, like, your manager. But then your parents think that they own you once you turn 18. That's, like, the whole thing where, like, Taylor Swift is, like, Taylor's version. Because she, like, has the rights to her stuff now because she's like an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole like Disney kids and like how when they grow up and 90% of them are like crazy, or have mental issues or drug issues. But yeah, I think it goes back to that. It's like they weren't kids because they were actors or singers their whole life. So it wasn't go play on the playground with your friends. It's all right. It's another full day of acting classes or singing classes, and you gotta go with this coach to practice your performances. So they don't get to do that, and you wonder when they're 18 they get some freedom, how they don't know how to act. And
well, I think I have like kind of a theory too that a lot of like grown adults are forced to play like young teenagers on like TV shows and stuff, and I think because of that it forces them maybe to act like you're acting like the part you're playing every day, kind of. Like, Cole Sprouse, he's 30 years old, and he still plays like a 16-year-old in almost everything that he's in.
I mean, think of like even the adult actors who like method act, who like play these different roles, and like say they have to go to therapy after they have hard times breaking from their role in their movie. It killed, what's his name, who played the Joker? Heath Ledger.
The guy that just played Elvis.
Yep,
he can't get rid of the Elvis voice. It's like stuck.
Oh, gee.
And like it sounds weird, but like when you start like messing with like your mentality like that, when you're like so into a character, that it like breaks you mentally. Like, that's a scary thing. And that's what people do when they obsess over celebrities or over these beefs that really mean nothing at the end of the day because they're all millionaires. When they get so obsessed with something and it consumes their personality, consumes them, like it's part of them, like you basically just hurt their like family member. It's kind of wild.
So what do you got for us, Miss Sierra? I know I saw some excitement in your eyes. You came in ready. You said I got.
So what I was going to talk about, it kind of fit because we started with like talking about age and how like I'm the youngest here. You guys are like not old, but older than me. So I would like to congratulate you guys because according to American Girl, you guys are considered historical.
Whoa!
Wait, me? Is that
What year were you born?
93?
Yep.
Dang.
So American Girl doll put out a new doll. If you don't know what American Girl doll is,
I know what American Girl.
They're dolls.
We're so old we know what it is, I guess.
They're dolls. You can get them to look like you. Very expensive for no reason. You can buy them little accessories. You can buy them cars. Like glorified life-size Barbies. But I never had one, could you tell?
Yeah.
But a few months ago, they put out a historical doll from 1999.
Wowzers.
Wait, is it saying just because 1999 was a good historical year?
No, they were classifying her as a historical doll.
Wow.
Dang, man.
So if you're born after 1999, before 1999, you're historical. I think that's a little biased. That's a little much. That's only 20-some years ago, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in 1999, I was like 12.
Yeah, I think that's a little much.
Practically on your deathbed.
They're trying to stir some conversations, and so that no bad press, all press is good press. So they're trying to get us to complain about them online, and then Sierra's people younger will complain about us online, and it's all good press for the All American doll? What's it called?
American Girl doll.
Doll.
It looks like this doll comes with accessories like the zebra print bed sheets, or like the cheetah print, and like the hippie flower print.
So is that cool now again with your generation, like the zebra prints? And I just lose track. I mean, I lose track. I don't understand what's cool anymore.
But what? See, oh wow, I actually expected them to change it, but the actual title for them is 90s historical dolls.
90s historical dolls.
Historical characters. It's like a whole like little category on their website.
That kind of hurts.
And it's like 1986. So Courtney, 1986, comes with a Pac-Man arcade machine.
That was the year before I was born.
Headphones with the little cassette tape players.
See, like in 1999.
And the high side ponytail.
Wow.
In 1999, I was playing Manhunt.
They do scrunchies too, and those leg warmers as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's got a denim skirt, leggings under the denim skirt.
Do I even want to know how much these dolls cost?
So, the doll that I was just describing is $115.
Is that all we're worth? Is $115 American Girl doll?
Man.
So congratulations on being historical, guys.
Wow.
The interesting thing about...
I'll make sure I get you a plaque in a museum somewhere.
I'll take it. The interesting thing about culture is that it doesn't really fully change, but it's very fluid. Like, it always goes forward, right? And it never really comes back to itself. But it takes some things from the past, the historical ages, I guess, according to the American Girl doll, and kind of puts its own modern twist on it. Because they would say, the bell bottoms are coming back. It's like, but like, now they have like rips in them.
Yeah.
And now they like the ripped jeans.
Yeah.
Or it's like, mom jeans are coming back. I was like, yeah, I guess, but like they're
super low-waisted jeans are coming back.
Well, it's like the other day. We had a couple of storage units, and we were consolidating down to one storage unit. So we pulled a bunch of stuff out of the units, and we were going through it to get rid of a bunch of stuff, and we found some of our old tech, and I found my old pager, and I was a baller back then. I had a pager that had the screen, so you could have messages put on them. So you'd call. So when you would page me, you could either leave your number, or you can call the number, and someone would answer the phone. You could leave a message for me, and it would give me the message. And so Aiden picks up this pager, and he's like, "Dad, what is this?" And I'm explaining to him the concept of the pager. And he's like, "Why didn't they just text you?" And then I had to explain to him the concept of a payphone, and he was just baffled. And then shortly after that, he picked up a VHS tape, and he was like, "What is this?" And then shortly after that, it was very educational for Aiden to see the historical technology that we had, from cassette tape players to, the box was just crazy. But it's like, it's crazy how fast the times have changed. Just in recent 30 years.
Yeah, 20, 30
well, I
years.
think such a hard topic to understand when it shouldn't be, because it's such a simple thing that's so obvious. As we get older, the kids just get younger, and I'm only 20, so
and they get introduced to things.
Barely an adult myself at this point, but kids born in 2014 don't exist. Don't exist.
Well,
I cannot imagine someone born in 2016 and up being a grown adult.
Well, you gotta think, all these things that the younger generation uses as a norm didn't exist even when I was a kid. I always mess with Haley and Aiden all the time. I'm like, do you realize I'm older than YouTube and Google? No, you're not. And Netflix, no, you're not. It's yes, I am. Look it up. I think one of them was in 2004. I was like 10 when that
I
came
love
out.
I love is how
Red
my
Box.
I love is how
Red
my daughter.
Box and when Netflix had DVDs. Like,
Yeah.
No, they didn't. Like
They used to mail us 2 DVDs at a time, and then we'd listen. We'd watch the DVD, and then we'd send it back, and they mail us 2 other ones. Like I love how my daughter is trying to introduce me to music that I used to listen to. Like she's like, Dad, you got to check out this song. It's so awesome. I'm like, you mean Green Day? Yeah, Dad knows Green Day. Like like.
Oh my gosh,
You listen to My
Haley.
Chemical
I
Romance,
was
like,
talking to
yeah?
her once, and she was like, I was like, what are you listening to? And she was like, nothing that you would understand. And I was like, I'm the only person that you know that would understand.
She's like, Dad, did you ever listen to good music? I'm like, let Daddy take you on a tour
Do you listen to music?
of a magical band that Dad used to listen to called Dave Matthews. And she's like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, Dad had a life. Dad was a teenager. I mean, is it the same music that Daddy listens to now? No. I mean, Daddy listens to predominantly like Christian music now, but but there was once upon a time where Dad was a child, and was a teenager, and there was a pre-pastor Josh, like where I had like regular kid stuff, where Dad used to run and do shenanigans, like she's like, for real, like yes. And she like, and it's funny because it blows her mind. Like, check this out, Dad. This is awesome. I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I have the vinyl. You want to see it?
Yeah. Oh, it's like it's amazing. But going back to pop culture and how it affects, it's affecting us in the way everything happens. Not only in church, but even like in the schools and like pop culture has somehow gotten a grasp on how society functions. I mean. It used to be where someone who was famous for being an artist, like a singer or an actor or an athlete, that's what they were famous for. They were there to be an artist or an athlete, but now it's like pop culture has taken a shift in modern day to the point where they're no longer just an artist or an athlete or an actor. They're an influencer, right? So now, just because, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, right? Like, you're a great football player, great, you're an athlete. So now, all of a sudden, because you're a great athlete, your position on current events is also, a valid position. Like, so now you're a scholar, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so we see this taking place in the world today with all the so great, you have a musical ability, so now all of a sudden when you speak out about different global warming, now you're a scholar on global warming. But wait a second, you didn't even graduate high school, like you have zero scientific background, but you're going to talk to me about polar bears and ice caps because you wrote a hit song about your boyfriend leaving you, or I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I mean, write something different, man. Like, we get it. You got dumped. Move on.
Taylor Swift is with someone new now.
So she's gearing for the next album.
Yeah, her next album's getting ready. He's gonna dump you, and then we're gonna hear about 15 songs about how he dumped you. And then
I do not understand the Taylor Swift type, and people get so mad at me about it. They're like, she's a work of musical genius, and I was like, she writes the same song with different lyrics.
But she's the same reason why people think the Beatles were so big, and I like the Beatles, so I'm not, don't come after me. I'm not dumping on the Beatles, but then you realize music that the Beatles use the same 4 chords in almost all their songs, but they're so big because they're so captivating.
But the difference with the Beatles was that their lyrics
were crazy.
They were lyrical geniuses with their songs told a story.
They also came with the Yellow Submarine song, too.
Right. I mean, the thing about artists from 30 and 40 years ago, okay, when you go into artists like Pink Floyd and the Beatles and James Taylor, again, Elton John, all these guys who had, and I know, again, I'm going to get hated for this, all these artists who had to make their bones on talent, okay, without auto-tuning, without the studios, they had to be able to pick up a guitar, they had to be able to play an instrument for real, they had to be able to sing with or without studio help. They were writers. Their songs told you a story. They took you on a journey, right? They had an emotional connection with you through their music, okay? And I know I sound like an old man now, right? Because now it's because most of this new music is not that, right? Most of this new music is very electronically generated and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all new music is bad, but I'm saying there was a difference. And yeah, maybe the Beatles had the same 4 chords. But man, they would take those same 4 chords, but they would take you on a journey in their music. There was a journey that you would be taking. Look at the Rolling Stones. I mean, like talk about guys who are like almost 1,000 years old, right? I mean, the amount of drugs and alcohol that are pumping through their systems must be what's keeping them alive. I mean, because they shouldn't still be rocking and rolling, but their music will take you through a journey. And they stayed in their lane for the most part. I mean, they would talk about issues that pertain to them. But mostly they'd stay in their lanes with they'd talk about AIDS and stuff like that. But I mean, they would pretty much stay in their lane for the most part. Now you got artists coming out and they're trying to step out of their lane. They're talking about different issues. Look at how sensitive we've become as a society to different topics. With different gender issues and different. And again, I'm not getting into it to put our position on this or that, but I'm saying, but pop culture has reached out and really put its claws into everything. Look within the school systems, with the different types of sensitivities on everything, right? From how we deal with bullying to how we deal with identifying different things to whatever, fill in the blank. Even within the church, like when we see kids come into the church and how they identify with their relationships with their friends and with different people. I mean, it just carries, right? I mean, pop culture has gotten a bigger reach than we've ever anticipated. I mean, we've given such a platform to performers and to, and then what happens is, depending on which side of the platform you're standing on, if you stand for the stuff that the world is open to, that platform is wide and varies, and you have power. But then, like we talked about a few weeks ago, you give that platform to performers who try to stand for things that have morality, like Christian performers and people who say that their faith are strong and stuff like that. They get shunned, right? So there's still that definite bias that takes place. So what does that show this young generation?
See, I don't care if influencers speak up on things that they believe in. They're still people. They still have a right to do that. I go on my Snapchat and post stupid little opinions of things that make people upset. So I really don't care when they do that, but when it becomes a problem for me is when a company needs to wave a check in front of their nose for them to do it.
Well, I think I want to take what you said a step forward. You giving your opinion on something is fine, because humans have opinions. We're not robots. But when influencers who have influence, even without the check, with the check, and the companies that pay them just to do it is also a problem. But when they're telling people what to do, right now, this is my opinion, it's like mental health is huge, right? You have an influencer who does not have a degree in mental health in any capacity. That says, oh, well, if you're feeling this way, or if you have depression, you do this. Or if you have this is not really depression, you're fine. They know their followers are going to listen to them. That's when it gets dangerous, because they might not know what they're talking about.
A lot of times with that is a celebrity will acknowledge that they need help, and they'll go see a therapist themselves, and then they think that because they saw a therapist, they can share what they learned from therapy, quote unquote learned from therapy, with the people that follow them. And that's fine, whatever. Say, hey, my therapist told me this today. I thought it was good advice. But you're using it as a way to sound like you're a professional in something you're not. Right.
And it goes the opposite way, because the big red pill, right? The red pill movement has been huge in social media, and how they're telling young boys, really teenagers, how to be a man, quote unquote. And one of the big things we saying on the therapy thing is well, if you want to be a man, depression's not real, go to the gym, right? So it's these influencers who have these young, people listening to their every word, who might be dealing with mental issues or anxiety, and then they're telling these influencers are telling them to their screens, but to their face, oh, you have anxiety, that's not really just being a wimp. You feel depressed, what's depressed? Go to the gym. You want to fix all your problems, stop being a wuss, don't cry, men don't cry. You want to be a high value man, just go to the gym and
But
work
then
and make money.
on the other hand, you have the people that are like, it's okay to cry. It's okay for men to show their feelings, which is the right, I think, personally, in my opinion, that's the right side. Like, I think it's okay for anyone, like, no matter what your gender is.
Put yourself in the shoes of a teenager or a really younger than that, because you 10-year-old. You have one influencer you look up to telling you be a man or a woman. This is what you have to do.
Yeah, that's where I was going with
influencer
it.
and having the opposite. They go, oh no, you should cry, and the other one's like, don't cry. Crying's for losers. Oh no, you should go to therapy. No, don't go to therapy. Therapy's for wimps. You're gonna be a really confused adolescent at that point. So I think culture is a very, very sharp, double-edged sword.
It's more confusing than it should be, and really just shouldn't be listened to.
Oh, because again, people aren't staying in their lane. I mean, look, let's go back a few weeks. What was it? It's been quite a few weeks when we were talking about James Raymer, the guy from the San Jose Sharks. I just took a second to look him up. So remember, he's the goalie from the San Jose Sharks that we were talking about that. Refused to wear, because he's a believer, he's a Christian. He's always been an outspoken, Christian, but he wasn't trying to trample on anybody else's thing, and they were having that Pride night at the arena, and he refused to wear the LGBTQ patch on his uniform, so they benched him. And he made a statement publicly saying, "Look, I'm not saying that my teammates can't wear it. I'm not trying to stand against the Pride night. I'm not even trying to stand against their rights to be part of the LGBTQ community. I just have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I'm choosing not to wear the patch on my personal uniform. I'm not trying to stand on anybody else." He was staying in his lane. He's like, "I'm not trying to impose my belief on anybody, but this is where I stand. I'm standing on my principle." They benched him. His contract was in jeopardy. I was just looking. Now here's all these weeks later, right? And what did we say on that episode? We said, if he was on the opposite side of this argument, he'd be praised, right? He'd be like, he'd be brave for standing up.
Yeah.
He's on the opposite side of the argument. He's standing up for something he believes that's contradictory to where the world stands today. As of today, he's still a free agent. He has now, granted, his record was actually pretty good. If you look at his record, he's always been an outstanding player for the past 13 years for the Sharks. He's still a free agent. It doesn't look like he's got any real prospects going on. And he still looks like he's still being penalized from being outspoken. So again, it's one of those things where depending on what side of the fence you're on, as pop, in the pop culture world, is where it's going to be. Now, Bible does say something very specific to this. All right, in John chapter 15:19, it says, "The world would love you as one of its own if you belong to it. But you are no longer part of the world. I chose you to come out of the world, so it hates you." It sounds kind of harsh, right? Like it's really, but I mean, tell me that's not true. I mean, we've come to a point in society where we're getting closer and closer to what the Bible describes as Christ coming to blow that trumpet, meaning he's coming back for his church. So every week we talk about, the invitation to receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. I mean, we're in the world, but we're not of the world. Like as Christians, as believers, as people of faith, we choose to live our lives a little bit differently. And so because we're not really choosing to influence, or people who are celebrities in that fashion, where they choose not to influence in the way that the world sees is the way they see it. The world really, for lack of better words, they really do. I mean, the world hates us. I mean, we've been pulled out of the world because we're marked different, as children of God. But it makes things a little difficult, doesn't it? As we see the drama unfold. I mean, we also see a lot of crazy stuff happening. I mean, one of the stories I was sharing with you guys just before the podcast started was that our boy Denzel, he's gonna be Inspector Clouseau in the next Pink Panther.
Yep.
You can get down behind that, Will?
I mean, I'm fine. It's a fictional movie or live action, whatever they're gonna make it. So I mean, I really don't. It's fine as long as he's good in it. It doesn't really matter to me. I
don't know. I mean, Sierra had some strong feelings about that, though. She wasn't feeling a live action of the Pink Panther.
Ugh. It gives
it
me
depends
the
what it looks
ick.
like. They're really doing everything live action now. It's kind of.
Have you seen like the pictures for live action Lilo and Stitch?
No.
Stitch is scary.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
he should be. He's
Look
an
it
alien.
up. You're on your computer right now.
Lilo and Stitch.
Live action Lilo and Stitch. Stitch is weird looking. Like, they could have made him a little cuter.
Well, there's still time.
We did bully, like, an entire company to change what Sonic looked like.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's because Sonic was.
Sonic was
horrendous.
weird, and now Sonic's cute.
Maybe I think that's a culture thing too,
You
right?
see him?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, let me see.
He's kind of like
Oh no,
gremlin.
they're gonna change that. There's no way.
That's gonna give kids nightmares.
Like that picture right there. Like, oh, you closed it out.
So I will go back to the Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, I think, and I don't see how it's cheaper to do a live action adaptation of an animated movie.
It's not.
I mean, has Hollywood really gotten to the point where they've run out of?
Absolutely.
That one. Like, all the way to the left, second one on the second row. That one, he kind of looks like Gizmo.
That's true. That's true. I mean, like, when did we get to the point where we had to recycle? Well, also though, like, isn't the Writers Guild about to strike, or did they
Yes.
go on strike?
Oh, yeah,
What's
that's
his
why,
name from Seth MacFarlane actually say he's quitting Family Guy. I don't know how true that was. 'Cause I
Isn't
never
it
did-
his show?
It is a show, but he has writers. He also now
How are you gonna quit your own show?
the writers strike.
Isn't he the voice?
He's the voice of a few characters, but
How are you gonna do that?
he says because the writers thing he says
Well, that's
quitting.
why Stranger Things 5 got pushed back a year.
Well, if you look at Hollywood movies, and I'm sure someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the last, let's say, 10 or so years, how many like good blockbuster original movies that wasn't a book adaptation, wasn't a comic adaptation, or wasn't a video game adaptation has there been? Like, even like Avengers and Star Wars, those are fantastic movies, but except for Star Wars, I think he wrote them and did the movies are at the same time. But the Avengers movies, their comics were written back in the 60s.
Aren't they off the comics now?
They're not off the comics. They use them as like really good reference materials, and they use their I guess their creative genius to change a few things. But they're not making up any new characters. They're not making up any new worlds. It's already there.
It's just kind of like plot points.
Right. The Last of Us, which was a fantastic show, I'm not gonna lie, but that's a video game that's already been made. The Notebook was a book before. The Titanic was written before. Like all these like really good
The Titanic
iconic
sank before.
movies that like we've had in the last 10 years. I'm sure there's maybe one or two, but the majority of it isn't anything new. It's just a screen adaptation of something that's already been written, which is fine. But then like you get weird with, now the big thing with Disney is that they're replacing all the characters with different ethnic groups. And everyone's making a big deal out of that.
That doesn't bother me that much.
But it bothers us so many people. Like the Little Mermaid. Like you realize the Little Mermaid is a fictional character.
But
like,
also
a fictional
the
character,
Little
and
Mermaid
mermaids aren't real.
being African American actually makes more sense than her being white. Just saying. Historically.
And she's a mermaid that don't exist. So
What I hate.
I just don't know what ethnic background a mermaid should be.
exactly.
I mean, because my daughter back when she used to like me every day. I mean, she still likes me for like most days, but it depends. Like I come upstairs and I have to see what kind of eye roll I get. Like so, like it depends. Like the way she rolls her eyes, like I can tell. Like today's the day she likes Dad. Today's the day she doesn't like Dad. She's going into her teenage years, but she used to have. There was this Australian show that was called like the Mako Mermaids or something like that. So that's the only experience I had with mermaids. Outside of the. Oh come on! Don't. For those of you listening, don't judge me. I was trying to spend time with my daughter. She liked the Mako
Listen,
Mermaids.
I babysat your daughter. Okay, I spent hours of My Little Pony. I don't.
Right. I mean, it was a very low budget, production. But you know what? She liked it.
Most mermaid shows are.
I mean, it was cool. It was a cute little storyline. But so I'm not sure quite how to qualify, any of the. But whatever. Like I get it.
It's like, to me, there's three parts to this. One, people are upset because they were originally written because they're main characters as white characters, and then there's a trend, or the culture now is with inclusion. they're replacing a lot of these originally white made characters with different ethnic groups. But if you remember, you take time frame into context, these main characters were written white characters in like the early 1900s, if not earlier, where black people weren't main characters in anything.
Yeah,
So all these characters, especially Disney, are going to be white.
The first black Disney character was like, was it Tiana?
I think so. Yeah, the first black. Well, technically.
That wasn't a villain.
Technically, Pocahontas she's not black, guys. She's Native American, and technically, Jasmine was also a woman of color in Aladdin.
Technically.
But the first black princess was Tiana.
I watched Aladdin the other day, and there's a trigger warning on it now.
For what?
When you play it, the first thing that pops up is this is not an accurate depiction of Indian culture.
No, but here's the question I have now. How far do we take this? I'm all for inclusion and accurate accurate depictions and all that stuff. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and they told me that now one of the doll manufacturers was creating a doll.
Barbie.
Was it Barbie
Down syndrome
with
doll?
Down syndrome doll? And look, I worked at the beginning of my career with in psychology was with special needs kids. I have such a special place in my heart for kids with autism, Down syndrome. I mean, they are like the most beautiful children. These children, the honesty and the community is so tight. But where does inclusion cross the line into almost like an extortion, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that with Barbie. I honestly really like what Barbie's doing with making their dolls different sizes and making them have different unique personalities. Because when I was a kid and played with Barbies, it was just Barbie. Blonde hair, maybe a brunette.
Yeah,
super
I feel you on that.
Honestly,
I feel that.
eating disorder level dolls. So I kind of support what Barbie's doing. I personally don't think it's for extortion in any way.
I don't know. I just I don't know. And my kids. I don't have a child with any type of special need. But at the same time, I don't know. Again,
I think because the scales haven't been leveled in so long, they're kind of overcompensating. Is are you, and I don't mean especially you have a different character trait than the traditional white, you get represented in X. That's what that's what they're kind of trying to do, because it's so long it's been, white is representation for 95% of the things, and then people are well, why is there not a doll that looks like me, or why is there not a main character like me? Then so now Hollywood in the last few years is okay, everyone gets what they want.
I agree with you on that, and I 100,000,000,000%, and I know that's not a real number. Agree with and I believe that every kid should have that feeling of their representation there. I believe that kids should have that. To a degree, I just hope, and here's where my suspicious cap comes on is the intentions. I just hope that these companies that are doing this, with the Down syndrome Barbie, that it is indeed, so that the kids can feel that sense of hey, there's a doll that's like me versus a for-profit. Let me make a stupid amount of money by opening up a new market share.
The Down syndrome Barbie and the original blonde Barbie aren't different in price.
Yeah, but here's where I'm looking at it from in a business perspective. They just opened up a whole new market share. I mean, let's be real. Okay, Barbie sales. They probably how long can you sell the same Barbie for? So so in product development, what am I looking for? How can I open up a new market space to sell this product?
That happened when they started making the black Barbies. In black communities, the amount of Barbies that were bought skyrocketed.
Right.
Because now there's these little black girls that are oh, there's finally a Barbie doll that looks like me, and then of course the family members want to enforce that inclusion, saying it's basically oh yeah, you're beautiful like a Barbie doll as well, and they're buying it off the shelves. And sometimes you have to wonder, right? Because there's a line between a fine line between inclusion because it's right and pandering. Because companies pander. You see it every Gay Pride month, and you see it every Black History Month. Those companies, for those 30 or 28 days, they're all LGBTQ, they're all Black Lives Matter, but as soon as the month is over, it's back to business as usual.
That's true, but I feel like we can't automatically just assume the worst of every company out there just because they're a big company.
No. Agreed, baby. I'm just saying, I'm not automatically assuming, but let's be real. I mean, corporate greed, my friend. Here's the thing. It's just, my heart goes out to people because, you know, how, like, if you look at history, and we're all history nerds here, right? I mean, that's how it works. I mean, you placate to those, and we're talking about pop culture.
They hop on the trends.
Pop culture is is the trend business, is it not? I mean, pop culture is used to market. How do these people become wealthy in pop culture? It starts off with finding somebody with a talent, and then especially in today's pop culture. Today's pop culture is a TikTok fad. It's sponsorships, right? So what do you see them doing? What do you see them doing in their videos? They all of a sudden they start wearing particular brands of clothing, and they start marketing particular brands of this or so what happens. So okay, so Barbie finds that, oh, you know what? We're in the spirit of inclusion, just like Disney did. Disney's like, oh, in the spirit of inclusion. But now every princess that Disney has, you can order in any ethnic background that you want. Right? Isn't that the new thing that they just did? So now Snow White, you can order, or Belle, or whichever Disney princess you want. So what are they doing? Oh, we're going to do this. So what are the intentions? And that's what I'm saying. What are the intentions that are being done here? Is it indeed for inclusion or the bigger good, right? Or is it because, you know what? Since COVID, we've had to limit the way our parks run. Our profit margins have gone down X amount of percentage. Wow, we can just like you said, we can open up our profits in a giant. Instead of just selling this one version of this doll, now we can sell 15 different versions of this doll. We can open up a worldwide market share. We can go crazy.
See, yeah, that might be the case, but I also think, like, little girls having the cartoons that they look up to actually being able to look like them kind of outweighs the bad here. Like, little kids don't look at that. They don't need to know that.
Here's my counter argument to this, and we'll see with the Little Mermaid because that's new and everyone's talking about it. I don't have a problem with them making the Little Mermaid different than the original race. I'm fine with that. But at this point, we have so many prominent directors and movie makers that have great ideas. Except for making a remake with a Black Little Mermaid, why don't you make an original IP starring a black actor or black actress?
This is true.
Instead of recycling.
Also, it's not supposed to be identical. It's a remake.
True.
It's not.
But if they were smart and they know how the climate is and how
It's
how
like the people
culture is right
complaining
now.
that the live action crab actually looks like a real crab. Like, ooh.
Doesn't he have a Jamaican accent?
And I want to be
It's
very.
the feed dig, so not really.
Oh, I love it.
And I want to be very clear. I'm a capitalist at heart, and in between you and I have stock in Disney. So good for them. If they're selling all these dolls, I'm making money. All right, just like so like. I'm not hating on it, but I'm just saying, what are the intentions? And my goal is to open people's eyes to what, like, we could all be jaded and be like, oh, it's these companies. I'd love to think that I'd love to give the feels to everybody, like they're doing it because out of the goodness of their heart. But
doing it for
nine
profit,
out of 10 times, these are for-profit corporations. You want to tell me you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart? All right, then give the Down syndrome Barbies for half price than real Barbie. We want to make you feel real.
Like give the extra money you give toward
right.
research. I don't think they're doing that. And again, you're right. I don't know if they're doing this or not. We're gonna sell this Down syndrome Barbie for the same price as regular Barbies, but you know what? We're gonna take half of every sale is going to research towards this. That's how you can tell if they're doing it from their heart or not. But if they're selling for the same price and there's nothing getting kicked back to like some kind of research or to the different foundations, then you know that it's. Which again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and you're right. These kids that are playing with these toys, they get to enjoy them. It's all gravy. But I'm just saying, pop culture has gotten a grasp onto how society functions. I mean, you were talking about method actors and actresses a few minutes ago. One of the articles I started mentioning before the show was about Patricia Arquette.
for those historical people like us, she had a little show. I say that sarcastically. It was a big show back in the day called Medium. You remember that show, Medium? It was.
I never watched it, but I am familiar with the show.
She apparently has a new show on Apple TV Plus series, and she credits how being brave guided her career. Apparently, she worked as a private investigator to prepare for the part. The reason I bring her up,
Imagine working as a private investigator.
I got a movie. Can I tag along? I got to prepare for a movie.
But isn't that kind of isn't that something that some of these actors and actors like the method actors, right? They're like, I want to shout you. But the reason I bring her up is, years and years ago, I was dropped into Haiti after the earthquake. We did some humanitarian aid there. I actually met her. She was there. She was actually pretty cool. But yeah, so you see, it's cool when you see like some of these actors and actresses that actually like do some of the good stuff. When I was in Haiti, I got to meet a few different actors and actresses there, and the cool thing about that trip was that because it was still like torn up from the earthquake. There were really no paparazzi, so you knew they were there, like, because they wanted to be there, because it wasn't like a photo op. Like there was no opportunity to get the credit for. It's not like when
I've seen pictures of celebrities in these places, so there are still photo ops.
Yeah. But this one in particular, there was no opportunity for this. That's what, like, because they were staying at the same place I was, so I was not at a fancy place because I was there with a group that did not have money to be staying like where like the rich and the famous go. So I don't want to just come on the program and be like, all pop culture people are bad. I mean, that's not our intent. Our intent is to bring to light that pop culture has like a strong role in today's society. I mean, like I said, it's a form of release, right? I mean, Sarah said it best. A lot of times you just want to just blow off some steam. I mean, what do you use pop culture for, Cece?
I'm a big YouTube person. Like, YouTube and TikTok, probably my, like, two biggest. I mean, Will and I were just talking about a YouTube scandal last week at the end of the pod.
Yeah, we were.
I don't know. It's just something about, like, videos that just make me happy.
I think a lot of people use it just to kind of blow off steam. I mean, not for, like, we were just talking about it, and Sarah was rolling her eyes at me, like. I'm one of those guys. I like to work with something in the background. Like I can't be in like a silent space. So like I'll have. I'm on my like third or fourth time round with The Office, and what made me think of that was on one of the articles we'll be sharing today on the podcast page. You'll see Jenna Fisher from The Office was sharing something from one of their final episodes, and it's just like it's not one of those shows that really makes you think. It's just kind of like stupid humor.
Shows like that.
It's just like
it's sitcom humor. You just laugh a little bit. No real plot you have to follow.
And honestly, like for the most part, it's one of those things where I'm not paying much mind to it. It's like it's playing in the background because like I'm focusing on my work, but it's like even with like the TikTok phase, like how like people use that term, like we've coined that term now, right? The TikTok hole, like. People come home, they just don't want to think about stuff. They just go on TikTok and they just scroll through. Apparently you can research on TikTok, I was told. Like, I've never used that whole, like, what people learn things on TikTok. You go to search and...
Oh, yeah, you can, like, search things. But TikTok will auto-search things for you. So if you're watching a video and it detects a theme in the video, it'll, like, add a search bar to the top, to, like, the bottom of the video near the caption.
That's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the AI that runs TikTok senses a theme
if like
in the
Will
videos you're
posts a
watching.
video and say Will had like controversy around him, it'll say like Will McCoy controversy video at the bottom of it, and then you just click the link.
That's kind of scary.
Will, is there some controversy around your videos, bro?
I hope not. I don't have any videos, so if you see any videos from me,
Going back to it, like what you were saying, like having a mindless show to play in the background, that's what YouTube is for me, because I can't have a show in the background and not concentrate on it. I'm very much a hyperfixation type of person, so if I'm starting a show, that's all I'm doing for days on end. Like Shameless, we were talking about Shameless
binge watching,
before.
right?
Yes, it depends on the show. If a show is longer than half an hour, I can't sit down and watch a show, like episode after episode after episode, because that's a lot. But like if a show is like 20 minutes long, like the old Disney shows used to be, I'm banging a season out in a day.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, and that's it depends on what you're putting on. I mean, and I think we all have like, some people have like comfort food. Like I think we all have like our comfort shows. Like there's certain shows like
Sherlock.
Yeah.
May rest in peace.
I mean, like Nancy laughs because like she knows like when I'm going through like those seasons of life where I'm like really stressed. Like there are certain shows that I've watched like 15 times. Like and she's like where I know every episode. Like I know almost all the words like from every character. Like I can speak at the same time as the show word for word because I've seen it so many times. But it's like something about those shows that kind of like they just they're like my comfort shows. You know what I'm saying? Like
I keep joking with my mom that I need to go get like ADHD tested or ADD tested or something because I'll hyperfixate on something for weeks until it makes me physically sick.
Yikes.
Like
Maybe.
foods especially, my like hyperfixation is Bob Evans mac and cheese.
Bob Evans mac and cheese?
Yeah. So it's microwavable mac and
Okay.
cheese. I eat it so much and I know it's gonna get to the point where I hate it. So I'm like, I need to go get tested for something. There's something there. But I do that with shows too. Like I watched the show called that show The Fosters in middle school. Got back into it a few weeks ago. Binge watched it until like season 3 and then I was like bored. So I'm trying not to do that with Shameless because I really like it and I don't want to like get bored.
I don't know. There's certain ones that I can just watch over and over again. I don't get bored with it. Like they're like, it's just funny how that works. Now, question for you guys: what are we? Are we pop culture? Are we turning into pop? Like what is this?
Podcasts, I think, are considered pop culture. I think it needs to have a following. Like I think it needs to be popular amongst people. Like I think I need to be able to go out in public to someone and be like, Temporary Insanity Podcast, and be like, yeah.
But I think we are definitely in the culture of podcasting. Because that's obviously something new that's...
Podcasting in itself.
So would we be a hybrid? Because we have the podcast, but then we also the YouTube. So like, would the YouTube be?
A lot of people now they do the YouTube or whatever platform they use podcast. So we're on trend for the podcast.
I've noticed that I don't think YouTube is as popular as it used to be.
What we got to start doing is the TikToks.
We do.
We got to talk to our social media manager about the TikToks.
We don't have one of those anymore.
Well played. Oh goodness.
Well, YouTube is kind of going down because...
I'll do the... Sorry, Will.
No,
I'll do
you
the
do.
TikTok if we can rehandle the Peapod. Just on TikTok.
Do whatever you want.
There you go.
Yeah.
YouTube's going down the tubes because they're having a bunch of...
See what you did there.
The DMC strikes against YouTubers and all the copyright claims that other YouTubers... So it's kind of self-imploding against amongst the more popular YouTubers. And now these like small little like alternate streaming platforms. So really YouTube big thing now is they're trying to get into like more live streaming stuff.
They're trying to like take over Twitch.
It's because Twitch is dead and gone.
I don't think
but
Twitch
now-
is dead.
Twitch is dead and gone. Twitch is a terrible place.
But no,
like
Since just chatting in the hot tub streams, the worst place ever.
Well, don't watch Just Chatting.
But I'm saying it's mostly just chatting.
yeah, but now TikTok lets you do what, like 10 minutes on videos?
It's getting ridiculous.
And now like Instagram has Reels, so I mean you have like alternative things.
Like I said, it's
you know what really grinds my gears about TikTok?
grinds her gears.
Grinds
This
my
is serious.
gears. People that post shows on TikTok, and it's like 150 parts of one episode of a TV show, and people sit there and people watch
That's
them.
illegal.
And my mother does that.
It
She's
grinds her
watching
gears.
Young Sheldon right now on TikTok,
That's terrible.
and I yell at
Oh,
her
Michelle.
every time I see her.
Why-
doing it.
Why doesn't she just watch it on a streaming
I
service?
don't know.
Michelle, I will give you my login, my friend.
It's awful.
Well, it's interesting that like these social medias are like copycatting each other because that fits right into our topic. YouTube saw that TikTok was at the time bigger than all the social medias, so like, well, we can't copy them, but we'll add reels that are not the same but are exactly the same. And then you see like the same thing with like Twitch. It was the big thing with streaming, and that's the biggest streaming thing. So now, all right, we'll let we as YouTube we want to stream. And now you can even stream on TikTok now, if I'm not mistaken. You can do TikTok
You can live
streams.
stream.
You can live stream on TikTok, right? So now everyone's like trying to jump on what's hot while it's hot to get the views and the money while they can, and then whatever the next popular thing for social media, follow suit and be a revolving door of what's trendy for the moment.
Live streaming really became popular, like really popular in 2020 when everyone was like stuck in their house because these influencers were kind of using it like as a way for everyone to like interact with each other in like real time with like a 4-second delay.
Right.
That's when all the celebrities are like, "Oh, I'm so
stuck
sad
in my
and bored in my
mansion.
mansion that has
My
18
$1 million
bathrooms
mansion with
and
a
4
roller
pools."
coaster.
Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, well, I'm in my 1,000 square foot.
Some people are like, I just lost my house. Can I move in
But then
with you?
at the same time, there were influencers actually staying in the house and doing these live streams, and then there were, the TikTokers that were out partying every day with each other.
As long as you stayed in your bubble.
They weren't staying in their bubble, they were in the Bahamas.
Well, Sierra, back to what I was initially asking, I just thought of something. We must have made it in the pop culture world because weeks ago you asked President Joseph Biden not to cancel TikTok.
I love TikTok.
Oh, you did it because of you,
But you single-handedly saved the TikTok,
You're welcome.
For better or for worse.
I'm for the people.
You asked, you said, and you could hear it if you go back, you could hear Sierra say, please, Mr. President, do not cancel TikTok. And here we are weeks later, and TikTok has not been canceled. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks,
I'm a
Sierra.
savior.
Thanks, Sierra.
Sierra and the Temporary Insanity Podcast have single-handedly saved TikTok. You can take that to the bank.
You can Venmo me at...
Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Go ask Joe Biden yourself. Go see if he'll answer you. He answered us. He didn't answer you guys. I don't know what to tell you.
There's just something so great about watching multiple individual videos than 1 hour-long video. It's just great. I don't have the attention span for that. I barely have... See, I'm telling you. I need to go get tested for... It's getting worse in my old age.
Your old
YouTube
age.
is this convenient.
You're not historically, Sierra. You can't claim that.
Yeah, you're still young.
You haven't joined the historical club.
Well, if you guys are historical, then I'm technically middle-aged.
Have you gone through your middle age crisis?
Every day.
Yeah, remember, her generation, they're going through the worst thing ever every single day.
That's true. That's true.
I don't claim that.
No?
No.
Okay.
I manifest good vibes when I wake up in the morning. Doesn't often work, but I try.
Oh, your generation
Yeah,
is
see,
vibes.
you do it subconsciously, see?
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, one of the things that we try to bring in this program is we try to help bridge the gap between the Christian world and the secular world. And honestly, when we're talking to people in the church, sometimes it's funny because they don't understand that there is a gap. One of the main things that I hear in the church world is they don't get what's how it is that these kids are I walk into a youth room and I'm like, what is going on? And this is me. I was a youth pastor for a long time. I mean, Sarah can attest, so can Will. I mean, but we see the effect that pop culture is having on the world today, and we see the effect that that's having on our kids and on our young people and our young adults. And honestly, we see it even on people that are coming into church. I mean, because like we said in numerous episodes, people aren't getting their news from regular sources anymore.
From Twitter.
It's getting from Twitter. It's getting
Twitter.
from the celebrities that are giving mental health advice, like you guys are sharing. It's from the drama that Sierra loves to watch between famous people. We're living in a pivotal time and in a pivotal moment where we're taking our rational thought from irrational people many a time. And what does this mean? This means that if we don't educate ourselves on what's happening out there, and we say this about topics when we talk about politics, we say this about when we talk about current events, we say this about when we talk about international news, we say this when we talk about history, and you think it's funny, but I'm saying this about pop culture. Hey, maybe you don't go to the leisure pages of the newspaper if you still read a newspaper. Maybe you don't check out what's happening in Entertainment Weekly or on the current happenings of entertainment news online or on Facebook or on these other things. But maybe we should take a few minutes and see what's happening with the drama amongst with Mario Lopez on what's the show he does there. What's that entertainment channel now that everybody's always being threatened with? Oh, crickets.
The last thing I remember Mario Lopez on was the E Network, but I think he's not there anymore. So
Did he leave E?
I can't. I don't know.
I don't even know who that is.
Mario Lopez, Slater from Saved by the Bell.
Oh,
Wow.
even I know that.
Well,
You said Lopez, and all I could think of was George.
George Lopez. See?
maybe we should check in with George Lopez too. He
You know
seems to know
what?
what's going on.
That's pop culture.
He's
Waking
in the
up at 2 a.m. to the George Lopez theme song.
True. And I think people need to realize that pop culture isn't inherently a bad thing. It's what makes society move forward.
There's a whole museum for it.
The thing is, everyone at some point in their life, where they pick an era, they've been part of pop culture in one way or another. It doesn't matter if you're back in the 70s with the hairstyles and the hippie music, or if it's the 80s and you're into the disco, or 90s and you're into whatever the heck was going on in the Wild Wild West of the 90s.
Those are pop culture.
Everyone listening to this podcast has known about pop culture or has been part of their generation's pop culture. So it's not, if it's not always bad. I think the problem with pop culture now is, again, and it goes back to the elephant in the room, right? The TikTok effect. Kids and adults, and all ranges that participate in TikTok, realize that trends come and go a lot faster now. So and that's why it's hard to keep up with the younger generation.
There's a name for it. I just can't. The something fad.
I don't know, but I'm coining the TikTok effect if it's not already a thing.
Probably not. Probably is. But you can still coin it.
Maybe.
If it doesn't have a little TM next to it,
I'm officially coining
it's
it.
ours.
So it's hard to keep up because trends now that might take 5-10 years to develop are now coming and going in a month. Then the meme that was cool this month is not the meme that's cool next month. The TikTok dance that was cool today is not going to be cool tomorrow. So it seems chaotic to someone a little older, historic types maybe, who aren't keeping up every day on the newest TikTok or TMZ or E! News trend. That's you someone?
TMZ, baby. That's what I was looking for. I even wrote it down as I was thinking about it. I was like, TMZ. That's check it. And Sierra, I just want to put this out there. So if you're saying me and Will are historical, Dad, if you're listening to the program, one of your favorite co-hosts, the one that you've been talking up all these weeks, she's pretty much calling you prehistoric, like the dinosaurs.
I didn't call you historic. American Girl doll did.
No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, pop culture has an effect on everything. Now, the fine line that we have to walk, and as a minister, what I want to be careful about in the church life is we want to make sure church doesn't turn into pop culture, because the church is a place where we stay true to Jesus culture. Oh, that was so good. That was so good, because why are you rolling your eyes at me, Sierra? If you're watching the behind the scenes, we're gonna play that back on replay.
I thought she was made a dad joke.
It wasn't that. No, I know she wasn't rolling her eyes at the Jesus culture, but I know I'm historical. I'm allowed to make dad jokes now. Okay.
So historical.
Like she was like that was so corny. I expected so much more from you. That's the face you just made from me. Like.
Also, before we move on, I'd like to make a public apology for kicking Will this entire show.
It's okay. It's
all right. See, the love that we have in this room, you just feel it. It's such a family.
I've just been kicking him the entire time, accidentally.
Can you feel the love?
A little bit of love. It's like little pillows hitting me. It's fine.
I mean, and this is the thing that the point that I really wanted to get to today too is like understanding the world. One of our friends made a good point. Actually, our youth leader Carol has been teaching about.
That's my grandma.
Yeah, that's your grandmama. She's been doing a great job with our youth here at the church, and she's teaching about the armor of Christ. And what I love about that is in the church, we take for granted that the Bible teaches us how to like equip ourselves for going through this life, and part of our equipping, part of our training is to understand what the world is going to throw at you. Like you got to know how to defend yourself. How do you do that? You prepare yourself. You understand what's happening. Like I said a little while ago, that's what we do on this broadcast. We talk about what's happening in society, so that we can be informed, so that as we inform ourselves as the body of Christ, and for those of you who don't know who Jesus Christ is, again, we're going to talk about that. But like as we inform ourselves and we get to bridge that gap, we prepare ourselves so that we can go through these insane times, right? That's why we call it temporary insanity. The Bible teaches us in 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 through 17, do not love this world nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of your Father in you. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. And this world is fading away, along with everything and everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever. I know that if you hear it on first glance, it sounds pretty like a little bit on the cold side. But what it's really saying here is like, yeah, enjoy your time here. It's okay to have like. Just because you believe in God, just because you have a relationship with God, doesn't mean that you're not going to have a good time while you're here on earth. I mean, it's okay to have fun. Fun exists because God created it. But don't fall in love so much with the things of the world because it's temporary. Like, don't get so wrapped up in the things that this world has to offer because it's temporary.
Temporary what?
It's temporary insanity. You walked me right into that one. See, you rolled your eyes at me for the dad joke, right? But that was.
If you're gonna commit.
But you're right, Sierra. It is. It's all temporary. We look at it. It passes the time. But the things we got to fall in love with are not the things of this world, but it's the things that are eternal. It's the things that God has to offer us. And God has so much more to offer than what this world has to offer. God has so much more to offer than that temporary advice that Demi Lovato is going to give us about mental health, right? I mean, I got the ultimate physician for you. His name is Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, God has given us men with intelligence to offer us resources. Listen to the doctors. Demi Lovato, refer people to see the proper professional, all right? Listen to the people that God has given the intelligence to. Listen to what God has to offer. Come to someone who can offer you what's most important. I'll tell you what that is. That is Jesus Christ. And God will give you the rest.
I think it's good to be at least aware of what's going on in your surroundings, right? You don't want to go through life kind of blind to what's happening. And, like I said, you can't have fun and still be a godly person. Like me, I love Star Wars. I love the Avengers movies. I just saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It almost made me cry grown man tears, but I held it in. Fantastic movie if you're a nerd like me. It is okay to cry. But I listen to Andrew Tate. He said, just go to the gym instead. That's a joke, by the way, guys. Yeah, he's out of jail. That's big pop culture right there, Mr. Andrew Tate. So it is okay to be aware of what's going on and to watch, quote unquote worldly shows, right? But you have to know your conviction line and you have to not cross it. When I think of things like this, I like to think about sports, right? That's how I kind of break it down into mine. I'm a big sports guy. And if anyone knows sports, you have two opposing teams. Between one game and the next, whatever your next opponent is, you practice and you're in the film room and you're looking at film so you know as much about the opposing team as you can. So when you face this opposing team, you know what to do to defend against it and win, right? In basketball or football, you know what plays are coming, you know what they like to do, but it's not because you're going to be part of the opposing team. It's for you and your opposing team, in your home team, being Team Jesus at this point, knows how to defend against your opponent and how to come out victorious. But so you don't get a sneak attack and get fooled and lose, you got to at least know a little bit about what's going on, what's the other team's going to bring against you, what the other team plans to do to trip you up. And that can be tough because I know a few people who don't know how to walk that line, right? They think, oh yeah, okay, I'm just, I'm gonna learn about the opposition. The next thing you know, they're part of the opposition team, right? A big Star Wars reference, getting real nerdy, right? The Anakin Skywalker is a Jedi. And he was dabbling in the dark side a little bit, and the Jedi was like, no, stay true to the Force. He's like, no, I'm fine. Now he's Darth Vader.
No idea, man. Haven't seen any of the series.
I know. So
and it's crazy because I've been in IT for over a decade. All my IT friends pick on me. They're like, one of my IT friends gave me the whole series to watch. I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. But it is a little nerdy, but it's good.
I like R2D2.
I just have nobody to watch it with, man.
I think he's cute.
Oh,
Don't look at me.
Hello.
You've been watching with my parents, bro.
I know. You're always busy.
Oh.
We're only 2 movies in.
I've gone 20 years without watching it. I can go another 20.
I know, but I feel like it's a prerequisite for what I do for a living. But in any case,
Are you
You
gonna
can put it on your resume.
grab a magic colorful stick and start whacking people with it?
No one should do that.
Fun.
It would be, but
in any case, you're absolutely right. Well, I mean, it's all about equipping yourselves, and like I said, your Mimi has been doing a good job with our youth, teaching them that, and as believers, we that's what we do. Listen, you're listening to the sound of my voice. Maybe you don't know who Jesus Christ is, and we say this every week. I mean, sometimes, especially now, it's hard. It's hard because we go through this life, and we feel like we're going it alone, and you don't have to. I mean, because God's waiting for you. God's waiting for you to make that decision to run into His arms and just repent, because He wants to be there for you. He wants to welcome you into a family that will help journey with you through all the things that you're facing, through all the difficult moments. I mean, me personally, I mean, I can tell you time and time again, He's met me where I've been. Even recently. I mean, you guys know that even in my life recently, we've dealt with some crazy moments with my family, with my son, and I don't know where I'd be if God wasn't there to help us through. And God showed us yet again how powerful He really is. And I'm not saying this to entice you or to bribe you or to try to sell you something. I don't have to sell God. God's done a bang up job without me for thousands of years. But what I can give you is this guarantee: you accept Christ into your life, and it is hands down the best decision you will ever make. The only way you can understand that is through experience, and I can tell you that your life will never be the same. It's very simple. 1 John chapter 1 verse 9 says, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. I mean, it's that simple. Romans 10:9 and 10 says, if you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you'll be saved. For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God, and it is by openly declaring your faith that you are saved. Acts chapter 4 verse 12 says, salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given by mankind by which we may be saved. I mean, it's very simple. God sent His Son to die for us so that we could be saved. And all He wants you to do is declare that you're a sinner. Just repent of your sins, fall to your knees, accept Him into your life, and your life will forever be changed. You'll have eternity with Him. Maybe you want to make that choice today. Don't put it off. Life is but a fleeting moment. In the grand scheme of things, it's very short. In the grand scheme of eternity, it's but a vapor, is what the Bible calls it. You don't know how to do it? We want to walk you through. Give us a call. Go to our website, www.Temporary Insanity Podcast. Hit us up on our socials, DM us, email us, call us on the phone. We don't care. We just want to talk to you. We want to pray with you. We want to set you up with the Bible. We want to set you up with a church that you can visit, that you can go to, that's going to help you along your journey. Or maybe you find yourself in the North Providence area. Come check us out. Saving Grace Church, 1 Volturno Street, North Providence, Rhode Island. You can go to our website, www.savinggrace.church. You can have all our information there. You have plenty of ways to contact us through that website. You'll find all that information on our website as well. Maybe you're not from the North Providence area. How can they find us, Cece?
You can find us on live stream on our Facebook, Saving Grace Church.
That's it. Find us on our live stream. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. I mean, there's so many ways to connect.
Maybe we should start TikTok living our church.
Now that it's an option.
Twitch streaming it too.
Just chatting.
Oh man.
Apparently Twitch is now dead, you guys said. But
yeah, it's on its way out. It's in hospice.
Yikes.
But there are so many ways for you to connect with us. Just connect with us. It'll be the best thing you ever do. If we're too far from you, I mean, we know that this goes nationwide. Apparently we have some of you listening to us from Alaska. To our Alaskan brothers and sisters. Believe it or not, we do have churches in your area. We do see people connecting to our connecting to our podcast throughout the entire country. Thank you so much for all your support. Just reach out. We do have churches in your area that we can connect you with. Good Bible-following, God-fearing churches that will get you set up for an awesome relationship with our Lord and Savior. That's all I got. What do you guys think? Good Pop Culture Week, huh?
It was good. And look, you did fine being the grandpa of the group.
I was scared, man. I was very intimidated. I didn't think I would know that much about the pop culture, but you guys made me brave, and I appreciate you guys making me feel safe.
All I had to do was call him historical.
Call me historical.
I said that for a long time.
I'm gonna wake up in cold sweats.
She
I'm gonna
took
go on their Twitter. I'm gonna say something to them.
She took way too much pleasure in calling us old.
She saved that.
It was brewing.
I mean, I love how she put it off on the American Girl doll. By the way, American Girl dolls, if you want to sponsor our show,
Please.
I mean, I
Send
feel.
me one of your historical dolls. She'll sit on the desk.
Yeah.
Mocking them.
And for those of you who love to watch our behind the scenes, check us out. Our videos are picking up steam on YouTube. I feel like people love watching the raw footage, so check us
You'll
out.
watch me in snazzy blazers every week.
Yeah, she's a professional. She's a professional little law intern, and she's doing great things. We've been good. We've been putting our behind the scenes. So our program drops live. Our podcast drops every Friday at noon, as you all know, because you're listening to us. And then our behind the scenes, we've been dropping it every Friday at 3 p.m. So if you like watching our live behind the streams video on YouTube, check us out every Friday at 3 p.m. It's there. So that now that I've said it on the program, I have to make sure it keeps going up at 3 p.m.
There you go.
That's a you thing.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got. Check out Aiden's website, www.aidenperera.com. My little man is getting quite popular. He looked very snazzy today. He had a chorus concert. He was in a full suit. He was balling.
DM us.
DM us. Yeah.
Facebook messages.
You guys got anything else?
Okay.
We're good.
All right. God bless you all. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
I have to pee so bad. Real
That's why I go before. I always go before.
You gonna wave at your fans?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, they just all heard me say I had to pee. So, bye. I'll do that.
That's pretty good.
That was good. I wonder if Rachel went to your mom's. Ugh. Another day to the podcast.
That's it, my man. Stop here.